Wir sehen beide gut aus.
Welcome. Welcome to this week's BTO talk on digital leadership, digital transformation, AI, and generative AI. And today, almost in the same room, as you can see, only two partners today. My name is Michael Alf, calling actually from the AI Hub in Lisbon. Yeah, as you might know, Lisbon is one of the tech cities in the world, and they have a so-called unicorn factory. And part of the unicorn factory is the AI Hub. So that's a vertical of the unicorn factory. There's also a gaming one. There's an XR one for metaverse topics and others. Fintech, of course. Yeah, and here this AI hub. And here's where I help the client actually to set up their own innovation hub, which is just operating over there. And I'm also here regularly. And I'm today with my co-founder, Markus.
Hello, Michael. Yes, greeting you from Italy this week, not far away from you in Lisbon. And I am here with a industrial client, and we talk the whole week about transformation, leadership transformation, digital transformation, and customer centricity. Very, very topic. And my usual role is I'm a professor for B2B marketing at the National University of Singapore, and together with our partner Rob as well, we're helping you to get ahead in Gen AI. Now, first of all, Michael, there's always tech news. What have you picked for us this week?
Yeah, look, actually, there's a lot happening right now. Again, I think it was a little bit slow on last week, but it's happening again. I just actually read someone quoted on LinkedIn said, "Oh, I had a 2 weeks break without any social media," and he said, "Okay, it feels like a different world, with all the changes." So it's really moving in the same high speed. And one of the developments, as you know, and we've spoken about, is the whole development in video. Yeah, so we have text, we have images, sound, and video as the main kind of outcomes, and of course coding and others. But yeah, so you get the idea of the multimodal. And Sora 2 from OpenAI came out. I haven't been able to actually test it yet. I'm going to do that. The first kind of tests I read about, very, very impressive. It really allows you to actually put yourself into the movie, into the video, so that you actually are recognizable. So kind of this face is then actually in a video. I've never been in a Hollywood video, so maybe that's my opportunity to shine in a video as well, and in a movie. This again is the next level, because that of course opens a lot of doors and opportunities. It changes how marketing agencies work, how ad agency work, how the whole advertisement works, and a few other things as well. Markus, any thoughts on that? Because it's such a hot topic also from your experience. Also, maybe one aspect I'd like to ping you with is
Yeah.
kind of what does it do then with around the fake problem. So I not only want to focus on kind of the shining great things, but also, of course, a little bit kind of looking at the risk side.
Yeah, so let's start with the positives. Very interesting, Michael, and we both will count with Sora 2, SORA, Sora 2, very soon. Well, if you think about the communications and marketing side of this, it's an amazing opportunity where you, as a little small business or a mid-sized business or even a large business, can create a video with your face and maybe talking about your product or services and so on. And you are in there. So, Michael, I believe it's another step in personalization of videos if the quality is right. It seems to be very low cost, and if you manage the quality and you actually become a good speaker and you don't want to embarrass yourself, this could be a very, very cool and interesting way to start socializing your services, products, or your own brand. So absolutely a step forward. I believe the younger generation will jump on this very quickly, Michael. And for influencers, this will become very cool as well. And for the more, let's say, senior people who say, what is this all about? Your comms team and your marketing team probably would be the first people to approach you and say, we have a new tool. In terms of deep fakes, of course, I'm pretty sure as we speak about it, someone else is already doing. If we use the terminology from cybersecurity, there are black hats and there are white hats. The white hats are usually the good ones, and the black hats are the mischievous ones. So probably, Michael, as we speak, the black hats are probably thinking about how could I use this in order to impersonate someone and saying this about my product, services, my brand, or about something which will put me into a very, very negative light, for example. Your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I think, and I think we spoke about that before. I wrote a newsletter on LinkedIn about that. So if you are interested, kind of check that out, the newsletter on my profile, and then scroll through the editions. I think that's the most underrated risk we have out there. Yeah. So because it will quickly get to a point where we actually do not know if something on a screen is real or not. Yeah. So you might ask yourself, well, are these two guys now real? Yeah, which I'm seeing, who I'm seeing here, and it's really hard to actually kind of demonstrate and prove that we are real. And so this will happen more and more. The more realistic kind of these videos become, the more length you can add. Yeah, so kind of creating actually, let's say, a 10 minutes or even then 60 minutes and more videos. Yeah, the more critical it'll become. So I think we need to kind of watch out on that. By the way, if you want to ask us questions, and maybe that's a proof point that we are real, yeah, there is the QR code. This guides you straight into the BTO WhatsApp group, and then you can ask questions. Or, of course, if you are watching on LinkedIn, just ask the questions in the comment section like we had before, so we can answer those. So, yeah, so it's interesting developments. That was one of the tech news. I think we had some more. Yeah, the model race continues. And, yeah, maybe on one other actually news, just because it's super relevant. OpenAI actually had a partnership with SAP, and they basically bring OpenAI to Germany. And so this actually addresses one of the key concerns and issues a lot of organizations have, that they wonder, okay, what happens with my data? And it's a broad topic, so I'm not going into too much detail there. But you see, kind of OpenAI as one of the key players does make this major move to address kind of the largest economy in Europe, and therefore, of course, has some implications on all of Europe. Yeah, where GDPR and the AI Act is kind of has to be kind of followed. So with that, kind of that's the tech side. Markus.
Yes. For us, which we basically, all of us were thinking about what could, because Michael and myself and Rob, of course, who is usually in London, are working a lot with clients, and more, Michael, we are getting the question, look, we are not a Gen AI or AI industry. We are not even in the company. Maybe we are a company who just starts to implement their first ERP system in the history of their company, because we just broke through. We become a mid-sized, large system company. We need the systems of larger companies. Is there a way of doing Gen AI without doing Gen AI? And so we want to discuss this question for you, because we actually believe we do have, Michael. If there is a phase before becoming a Gen AI company, and we call this phase now, just for the fun of it, doing Gen AI before doing Gen AI, what would be your experience and your advice, and how could someone actually get familiar with this without declaring our strategy now is we become a Gen AI company? Any examples?
Yeah, absolutely, Markus. I really love kind of how you phrase that and how you use this, this challenge putting forward, because at the end, there are pockets where you don't need to really understand Gen AI, to make use of it. And to give you kind of an example. On the one hand side, I strongly believe organizations need to do the AI awareness. Yeah, so that is mandatory, but it takes time. Yeah, if you have employees, a couple of hundred, couple of thousand, whatever it is, it takes time to actually skill them up across the board and make that happen. It also takes time to really go into, let's say, significant AI agentic solutions which create a significant ROI. But there's an interesting space which is highly relevant, and this is largely, if you like, our personal space. Yeah, so this is kind of the way how we operate and how we act, and there are what I would call micro or mini solutions. Yeah, so this is something, and we see that I'm working with a number of clients where we're creating these micro solutions. So they are basically agents or AI workflows, and they help with very particular problems. Yeah, and make
Can you give
kind
us
of
some
life
examples?
easy. Absolutely. So kind of one company, they get a couple of hundred incoming leads every day. Half of them is kind of not relevant. Yeah, so it takes a lot of time to just read these emails and then actually qualify them, put them somewhere, and then to the relevant ones, so let's say the relevant 150, kind of send back a reply. Think about how do you reply. This is now all done by an agent. So the agent basically receives the emails, sorts out the rubbish, qualifies the other ones in, let's say, 3 categories: hot, warm, and semi-warm, lukewarm, something like that, or whatever your CRM definition is. And then actually crafts a response to the most relevant ones. And either it's sent out automatically, which usually is not happening, but it's actually put into the outgoing outbooks of the responsible person, and then they just read and then play. Either they change and adjust, which is less and less relevant, and then they kind of send them off. This is
I
a
have
really
a question
nice
for
example.
you, Michael.
Yes.
So you make it sound very, very easy and simple, but for someone who is just listening to us, how many human people or human assets are actually involved in that, and how much AI is involved in that? So you mentioned the word agent. You don't mean an agency. You don't need a person. So what is an agent, and how does that lead to a human being involved in that process?
Yeah, great deep dive and great questions. So an agent, an AI agent, basically means it kind of it covers certain elements of a workflow, so kind of certain steps. Yeah, and it usually uses then a large language model like OpenAI, like Anthropic, and so on, but not in the user interface, which you know from ChatGPT, but basically in the backend through an interface. Yeah, so this is kind of a clearly defined process, by the way. So there's no real autonomy. This thing doesn't do just something because it thinks it's the right thing. Yeah, it actually knows what it does step by step. So it's predefined. This is what you need to work with the organization, of course. Yeah, there's of course some human involvement. There's a lot of fine tuning, especially when you want to get that right, that the quality of the responses is good, and then it's put into place. It's automatically integrated into, let's say, your Outlook, into your whatever CRM you have, if you want to have that. And then it basically automates that. So it's checking the inbox. Yeah, it actually takes then kind of the incoming email and then it processes it. And then you have the human in the loop at the end, who can say, yes, that's right. Therefore, freeing up the time, and this is here super critical, that they can focus on the, let's say, of the 150 leads, let's say 10%, 15 are really high quality leads. So then you can actually start really focusing on those 15 leads, which then, of course, increases the closure rate. Yeah, increases the probability that you actually close the deal. It potentially even increases the deal size because you have put more effort into actually creating a solution. So this is kind of where the value add then comes, so that you save, let's say, 2 hours of the time, and these 2 hours go into these 15 leads.
So I was just about to ask you, let's say we get these 300 emails in, which are all indicating we are interested in you working for us. And these so-called agents, I ask you very simple questions. How many hours do they work per day? How much do they get paid? And how much time would it take them to go through these 300 emails?
So the first one, they obviously work 24/7. Yeah. So that's the
Also on
first
weekends.
Also on weekends, absolutely. So always, which actually is a big one for another example I wanted to provide, which is our voice agents. Let's briefly talk on that as well. Secondly, what do they cost? They actually do not cost nothing. They do not cost nothing. They do cost something. Yeah, and there can be some significance in terms of that. I mean, most people, which I don't understand, think everything needs to be free. Yeah, ChatGPT needs to be free. Just thinking about actually the technology you get into your hands, and then saying, oh, okay, even $20 per month is too much. When I think about how much it saves me, saying $20 is actually a bargain. Yeah, so and I'm happy to spend the $20, but that's a separate conversation. So most people expect free. There is no free. There is no free in AI. Yeah, so the processing cost, so the machine cost of the learning of the large language model actually produces some cost. They are getting lower and lower. So let's say if you spend per month $100 or $150, that's actually quite a bit. Yeah, so you need to compare that. Even if it's $500, so that's actually quite a lot, yeah, for these simple task exercises, and you calculate that against 20 times 2. So no, that's 20 times 2. That's 40 hours. So the question is, what are your 40 hours worth? And if they're not worth $500, I think you have the wrong job. So that's kind of the cost. And by the way, the systems, yeah, of course, cost also something. Yeah, so it's not for free. And there are use cases, and that is really important, which don't have a positive ROI. Yeah, not everything which you can do with ROI does make sense with ROI. You just need to do the maths and the calculation. The third one was what was the third one?
How long do they take in order to go through 300 emails coming in?
Yeah, we are more in the seconds between a bit to 2 minutes space. It's basically also more automated. Today I had a client call for an upcoming training, and I showed them one of these agents actually writing a complete blog post out of one topic, and I demonstrated it live. The moment I hit enter on the topic, it started producing the blog. So it's basically almost real time. There are, of course, depending on the amount of data, it might have some processing time. But for this example and many other examples, it's basically immediate.
So we are running out of time. I would like you to give one more idea, and then we close with another one or two ideas from me. What you could actually do in phase 0. How can I use GenAI without getting into GenAI? So what is your second example?
Yeah. So what I really like about these ideas, they don't harm kind of anything. Yeah. So they help actually with a simple thing, responding to emails. It's not like you need to understand all about AI and so on. So this second example, voice agents. I think they really get a lot of momentum and traction, and that's mainly because of the quality of the voices and the quality of the content of the voices. So think of any company that has actually a phone, an incoming phone for clients. That can be from the automotive company, repair shop around the corner, to mid-sized companies which have requests, to agencies, to whatever. This is a huge use case. You have multilingual, so especially here, me in Portugal, so it's kind of Portuguese, English, German, Russian, Ukraine,
French,
everything was there, Spanish, French, all in one go without a problem. Huge use case, very exciting. If that's of interest, we are doing that for the same company, and we are doing that for other companies right now as we speak. It's a huge, interesting use case. I think you are breaking up for a moment.
Project. Can you hear me again now?
I think you're back now. So yes, yeah. So yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Okay. So now
I just share with you. I give you an example of how you can use GenAI for your personal efficiency and productivity. For example, if you are in a team, you are either leading a project team, or you're a manager, you are a subject matter expert, or you are a team manager, or you are in the C-suite. You always have a lot of meetings with a lot of notes, and you struggle to actually go through all of what you have to do in the week. So you can actually have subscriptions or transcriptions of your meeting notes. You can put that in ChatGPT and just say, summarize the key topics I need to do. And then you put all of your notes of the day or the week and say, summarize all of these 20 meeting notes I have and tell me what I should address in the next 5 days or 2 weeks. And it will do that within 30 seconds or 1 minute. It's like your personal assistant. And by the way, you don't pay any more than your $20 subscription you already have with ChatGPT. I just met a very, very dear friend of mine recently, as of last night, and he shared with me that in the executive team in his company, he is the only person doing this, and he gets a 20x factor of being faster than them and getting more sleep because they have no idea how it can be so efficient, focused on the task, and knowing and being prepared for the next meeting. So these were just a few ideas where you get into the use of generative AI without announcing it to your organization. We must do GenAI. With this, we would like to close for today. The final word.
Yeah, thank you very much, kind of for your questions. It was a little bit longer, but I hope it was interesting because very specific use cases. Take them on board, try it out, reach out to us if you have questions. So and how to do it. Actually, there's still some work involved. We'd love to have a chat with you. Until then, we'll continue the conversation next week. And until then, all the best.
Bye for now. Nice.
Good.